Hey everybody, it's Tommy with A Better Time, and I've got another Ulysse Nardin. This would be a Ulysse Nardin chronometer company, Calatrava style watch. And when we say a Calatrava style watch, we're usually referring to something round that is manual wind and has a sub-second dial in the 6 o'clock position. So a smaller little dial down there, with the second hand rotating around that. So this is what we're looking at. This watch is 34 millimeters, but you're gonna actually look larger than that. It's a term that people use. They say it wears a little bigger, which sounds crazy, right? But if you see where the crystal on this watch is, right, there's a whole lot of bezel around the outside of this. And it sits, quite low on the wrist. But this, as it sits out, when you see the picture of Noah wearing this, it really kind of looks like he's wearing maybe a 36. It just appears bigger on the wrist. Again, I have the biggest wrists in North America, but when you see this on the wrist, it does not look like a 34. It really looks like a larger watch. Watch is in really, really great shape. The dial is completely unblemished, and there's really, really small, tiny kind of scratches that you get with wear on any kind of precious metal. You're not going to see a lot of them when you look on the front. The back, you'll see a little bit more from years of this thing sort of sliding in and off of people's wrists. But the watch is just in amazing shape. And I'll show you one more time so that you can see that sub-second dial doing its thing. The very cool with the little sub-second dial down there ticking away. It's a manual wind, so obviously for people that like vintage and like to be a little bit more involved in the whole process, there's something great about putting on an automatic and forgetting about it. But personally, I don't know, there's something to me that is really romantic about winding a watch. And as a rule of thumb, people, if you do have a manual wind watch, if you can try to wind it at the same time every day, sounds silly, right? But everyone I've ever spoken to that knows anything about watches and maintenance and things of that nature, they always try to recommend that you wind the watch at the same time every day. There are people who don't know a great deal about vintage. I get questions all the time from people who are worried they're going to overwind their watch. First of all, on a manual wind watch, as you start getting to the end, and I'm getting there right now, you'll just feel a little tension. Right? The watch basically starts to push back on you a little bit. When you get to that point, stop. There's nothing, too magical about that. If you start to feel resistance and you crank it down, yeah, you do stand a chance of maybe damaging. Doesn't really happen very often. What usually happens is people that, anger, because I never really understood a broken mainspring. When you get to a point where the winding stops or starts to resist, you stop. It's pretty basic. If you have a watch that is an automatic, you can wind it forever. It's not going to do any damage to the watch because obviously the people that engineered this knew that there had to be some kind of almost like a dump feature. Because imagine Roger Federer, right, with a watch on his tennis racket hand. I mean, all day long, as fast as you can. I mean, imagine what the weight inside his Rolex is doing. Honestly, I'm not sure if he wears it on the tennis hand or on the other hand. I don't remember. But either way, a lot of activity going on there, right? And the excess energy just gets dumped off. So, and you can manually wind an automatic watch. There's a lot of watch companies that recommend that you do. Especially if you're not wearing it constantly. A lot of automatics have about a 40-hour reserve, some a little less, some considerably more these days. There's some that have just incredible time reserves. But there are watch companies that recommend when you get up in the morning. Bulova used to write it in all of their old literature, and we'll be showing a couple of those watches here shortly, so you might want to check that out. But they used to recommend that when you get up in the morning, you give it 4 or 5 winds just to start your day. Not exactly sure why, but hey, they're Bulova. They're a pretty great watch company. So on their watches, if I happen to be wearing one, I'll give it a little wind in the morning. So, all right, people, that was our Calatrava style Ulysse Nardin manual wind watch. This watch has a price tag on it in precious metal of $1,600. I think. If not, it's 1650, but it's right in there. And feel free to make us an offer. As we always say, if it's so low it's going to offend us, we're not going to see it anyway. I am Tommy, and this is A Better Time LLC. I will see you on the next watch. God bless.